Most people believe they are poor because the world is unfair, but the truth is far more uncomfortable. You remain poor because you have not yet learned to rule yourself. Today, we uncover the Machiavellian principle that keeps wealth just out of reach. In this lesson, we confront a silent enemy, the lack of self-command. Many wish to be rich, yet they are ruled by laziness, impulses, and fleeting pleasures, and as Niccolò Machiavelli teaches, a man who cannot govern himself is unfit to govern fortune. Wealth is not gained by luck, but by mastering one's own habits and discipline. The common man clings to the notion that fortune is an accident, a roll of the dice, a gift bestowed upon the favored few. He comforts himself with this belief, for it allows him to avoid responsibility. If wealth is luck, then his poverty is not his fault. But hear me well. This belief is the first chain that binds him. Wealth is not conjured by chance. It is forged slowly, deliberately, through the iron discipline of one's daily life. Consider how a soldier becomes formidable. He does not wake one morning with strength and precision. He trains, he endures the discomfort of repetition. He sharpens his reflexes, polishes his weapon, and studies the battlefield. So too must a man who desires wealth train himself. He must develop habits that align with his ambitions. He must wage war against his own impulses, for they are the enemy that whispers, rest, indulge, delay. The poor man listens, the wealthy man does not. The one who becomes rich understands that every coin spent carelessly is a soldier lost. Every hour wasted in entertainment is territory surrendered. Every excuse uttered is a treaty signed with mediocrity. The world is not ruled by the gifted, it is ruled by the disciplined. The man who masters himself masters his fate. Observe the marketplace. Two men stand side by side with the same tools, the same opportunities, perhaps even the same intelligence. One thrives while the other struggles. The difference is rarely skill. The difference is habit. One man rises early, plans his day, tracks his resources, seeks instruction, and controls his urges. The other wakes without intention, drifts through the hours, spends thoughtlessly, and feeds his desires before feeding his future. Over months and years, these differences compound. The disciplined man builds wealth. The undisciplined man builds regret. The masses call the successful man lucky, because to accept the truth would require them to confront their own failings. It is easier to envy than to emulate. It is easier to criticize than to change. And so they speak of luck. They cling to fantasies of sudden wealth, lottery tickets, miracles, windfalls, never realizing that even if such fortune did arrive, they would squander it. Without discipline, money flows through the fingers like water. The man who has not built habits to protect wealth will always return to poverty, just as the undrilled soldier always falls in battle. Think of the farmer who plants his seeds and tends his fields. He rises before dawn, works under heat and cold, protects his crop from pests and storms. Someone observing only the final harvest might say he is fortunate to have abundant grain. But fortune did not plow the soil. Fortune did not carry the water. Fortune did not labor through hardship. The harvest is the reward for persistence. Wealth is much the same. It appears to be a single event, but it is the final blossom of countless unseen acts of discipline. To master one's habits is to wage war on comfort. Greatness does not arise from pleasure. Pleasure is the drug of the idle. Discipline is the tool of the powerful. When a man chooses to delay gratification, saving instead of spending, learning instead of indulging, working instead of resting, he plants the seeds of future prosperity. These small choices, made daily, accumulate into vast advantage. The world bends to the one who bends himself. Imagine a man standing before two paths. One is smooth, shaded, and pleasant. The other is steep, rough, and demanding. The smooth path offers satisfaction today, but leads to suffering tomorrow. The steep path demands effort today, but leads to strength and abundance later. Most choose the smooth path, believing they are choosing ease. But this is an illusion. They merely postpone their suffering, trading present comfort for future desperation. The disciplined man chooses the difficult road now, and in time walks upon level ground, while others struggle in the valley below. The mind must be trained as strictly as the body. Thoughts of self-pity, envy, and defeat corrode ambition. The man who wishes for wealth must develop a sternness of inner dialogue. He must speak to himself not as a friend, but as a commander. He must instruct himself, correct himself, and compel himself forward when he would rather retreat. This is the essence of discipline, to act in accordance with what benefits one's future, not one's feelings. And know this, there is no secret that the wealthy possess which you are forbidden to learn. There is only the habit of consistency practiced endlessly. Every enterprise, every craft, every investment, every business, these reward the one who persists longer than others. Most fail not because the task is impossible, but because they abandon it the moment discomfort arrives. They surrender to fatigue, they submit to fear, they retreat into excuses. And then they proclaim the world unfair. The world is neither fair nor unfair. It is indifferent. It rewards those who act with discipline and punishes those who do not. To become wealthy, you must treat yourself as a kingdom to be ruled. You must identify disorder and correct it. You must identify weakness and confront it. You must identify waste and eliminate it. You must build habits that serve your ambition, even when you do not feel motivated, for motivation is fickle and cannot be relied upon. Discipline is not a moment. Discipline is identity. It is not something you do sometimes. It is what you become consistently. It is the quiet, relentless force that transforms dreams into reality, intentions into achievements, and desire into wealth. The greatest enemy of prosperity is self-deception and emotional decision-making. A man may boast of intelligence, talent, or ambition, but none of these matter if his judgment is clouded by emotion. Wealth demands clarity, strategy, calculation. Emotion demands comfort, validation, and immediate gratification. These two forces are sworn enemies. The one who wishes to become rich must learn to recognize when emotion speaks, for emotion is the voice that leads men to ruin while convincing them they are acting wisely. Observe how a man behaves with money. He desires wealth, yet spends to impress those who do not care about him. He purchases luxuries before establishing security. He convinces himself that a moment of pleasure is necessary, that he has earned it, even when he has earned nothing. He lies to himself with surprising ease. And this self-deception is the silent architect of his poverty. He may believe he is being reasonable, but reason has already been dethroned. Emotion has seized the throne, and emotion is a reckless ruler. To grow in wealth, a man must become suspicious of his impulses. For the impulse is not a command, it is a test. The desire to indulge, to relax, to avoid effort, to seek approval, to escape discipline, these are the impulses that destroy fortunes before they are built. Emotion does not consider the future. Emotion cares only for the present, and any man who lives only for the present will sacrifice his future to it. Such a man does not fail because the world is unfair. He fails because he wages war against discipline with the sword of pleasure, and such a weapon always breaks. Think of a general on the battlefield. If he allows fear to dictate his movements, he will retreat when he should stand firm. If he allows pride to direct his orders, he will charge when he should wait. His army will be scattered, his campaign will be lost. Wealth is a battlefield of another kind. You face enemies of indulgence, distraction, envy, and impatience. If you allow emotion to command your actions, your financial army will fall just as surely. Money flows to the one who remains composed under pressure, who acts with patience when others act with haste, who chooses logic where others choose impulse. The man who wishes to prosper must study his own mind as carefully as a prince studies his borders. He must know the situations that weaken his reason. He must notice the moments when he becomes vulnerable to temptation. Does he spend more when he is sad, when he is proud, when he seeks validation? To know this is to know where the enemy breaches your defenses. A kingdom that does not guard its gates loses its riches to thieves. A mind that does not guard its thoughts loses its prosperity to emotion. Self-deception is subtle. It speaks in soft tones. It says, "This one time will not matter." It says, "Everyone else indulges. Why shouldn't you?" It says, "You deserve rest now, there will be time later." But later becomes never. Excuses become habits, habits become identity. And soon the man who once dreamed of wealth becomes the man who merely dreams. Consider how many people believe they will improve their lives soon. Soon they will start saving. Soon they will start investing. Soon they will start working toward their goals. But soon is a word spoken only by those who fear discipline. It is a shelter for the weak. The disciplined man does not speak of soon. He acts now. He does not wait for the perfect moment, for he knows that perfect moments do not exist. The undisciplined man waits for his emotions to align with his intentions, but they never do. The emotional man seeks motivation. The strategic man seeks structure. The emotional man requires comfort to act. The strategic man acts regardless of comfort. This is the difference between poverty and wealth. One waits for a feeling. The other relies on principle. When a man loses control of his emotions, he becomes predictable. And the predictable man is easily controlled. Merchants, marketers, politicians, and manipulators know this well. They do not sell products, they sell emotional responses. They convince the emotional man that spending is status, that consumption is happiness, that debt is normal. The man who lacks emotional discipline becomes a puppet whose strings are pulled by society. He believes he is making his own choices, but in truth, his decisions are made for him long before he reaches the marketplace. To break free, a man must develop inner governance. He must treat his emotions not as masters, but as advisors whose counsel must be questioned. When fear speaks, he must ask whether the threat is real. When desire speaks, he must ask whether the reward is lasting. When pride speaks, he must ask whether it advances his future or only his ego. When envy speaks, he must silence it entirely, for envy leads no man upward. The wealthy are not free of emotion, they simply do not obey it. They structure their lives to minimize emotional decision-making. They automate savings. They budget deliberately. They invest consistently. They choose their goals in cold clarity and pursue them with disciplined focus. When they feel doubt, fear, or temptation, they do not collapse. They observe, they evaluate, they make decisions based on reason, not on the flicker of momentary feeling. The man who learns to question his emotion becomes dangerous because he is not easily influenced. He cannot be manipulated by trends, by gossip, by envy, by fear. He becomes a strategist among impulsive men. He becomes the architect of his own fortune. He becomes master of himself. Power and wealth favor those who act strategically, not impulsively. The naive man believes that fortune smiles randomly, that riches are stumbled upon by accident or through sheer luck. He imagines that success is the reward of effort alone, that diligent labor guarantees prosperity. Yet history and observation tell a harsher truth. Effort without strategy is wasted motion, a bird flapping desperately against a storm. To rise, to accumulate, to command wealth, one must think like a general, not a laborer. One must plan, anticipate, and maneuver with precision. Observe the kingdom of men. Those who accumulate power and influence are rarely the strongest or the most talented in the superficial sense. They are the ones who anticipate consequences, who calculate risks, who choose each step with foresight. The impulsive man moves quickly yet blindly. He chases opportunities without examining their cost, latches onto ventures without understanding their foundation, and pursues desire without considering the long-term consequence. This is why he falters while others advance. Fortune favors not the hurried but the deliberate. Strategy is the lens through which one sees both danger and opportunity. A man who acts without strategy is like a sailor navigating stormy seas without a compass. The waves may lift him momentarily, yet they will dash him against rocks. The strategic man understands the currents, studies the winds, and positions his vessel so that he may harness the storm to his advantage. Wealth, like power, is acquired in this way, not through random chance, but through calculated action, patience, and foresight. Consider how kings maintain dominion. A king does not advance his armies without assessing the battlefield. He does not extend his reach without studying allies and enemies alike. Every movement is intentional. Every resource is allocated with purpose. The impulsive king would lose his throne. The same is true in the acquisition of wealth. To act without strategy is to fight a battle with eyes closed. One may win by accident, but sustained success is impossible. The man who desires riches must first master the art of planning. This does not mean idle speculation or endless daydreaming. It means deliberate consideration of the terrain upon which one walks. It means assessing opportunities not by their immediate appeal but by their long-term value. It means understanding that every decision carries consequences beyond the present moment. that every choice can either build or destroy the foundation of fortune. Acting strategically is the skill of weighing the unseen, calculating the future while balancing the present. Impulse is seductive. It whispers that now is the moment, that quick action is heroic, that hesitation is weakness. And yet, quick action without foresight often becomes the architect of failure. The man who acts impulsively may gain a small victory, yet such gains are often fleeting, unstable, or exposed to ruin. The man who plans, however, builds a fortress around his success, ensuring that each gain compounds and endures. Strategy transforms labor into leverage, effort into empire. To act strategically, one must also understand timing. Fortune favors the patient, not the hasty. The impulsive man acts at the wrong moment, guided by excitement or fear. The strategic man waits until the conditions align, until the advantage is clear, until the risks are minimized. In commerce, in negotiation, in investment, timing is the silent ruler. The man who misjudges timing may see opportunity vanish, wealth squandered, or reputation destroyed. The man who masters timing positions himself to strike decisively, ensuring that each action maximizes its reward. Another element of strategy is the cultivation of knowledge and information. The impulsive man relies on intuition alone. The strategic man seeks insight, studies trends, and learns from every source available. He understands that knowledge transforms chance into calculated probability. The uninformed act randomly, the informed act deliberately. Wealth is seldom the result of pure luck. It is the result of decisions made with foresight based upon accurate understanding of circumstance, risk, and potential. To act strategically also requires self-control. It is not enough to plan. One must execute with consistency, resisting the urge to abandon plans for fleeting emotions or distractions. Many men devise grand strategies but falter in execution, swayed by impatience, envy, or sudden temptation. The strategic man does not abandon the long game for short-term comfort. He aligns every action with his overarching purpose, recognizing that small deviations today can magnify into catastrophic losses tomorrow. Discipline and strategy are inseparable. Finally, understand the role of alliances and relationships within strategic action. The impulsive man acts in isolation, believing himself sufficient. The strategic man recognizes that resources, influence, and connections amplify effort. He chooses associates carefully, aligning with those whose strengths complement his own, who advance his objectives, and whose loyalty can be trusted. Power, when combined with deliberate alliances, accelerates wealth beyond what isolated effort could achieve. Impulse drives men into reckless partnerships, yet strategy ensures that every bond, every contract, every collaboration serves the ultimate objective. To act strategically is to transform ordinary action into extraordinary results. It is the difference between a man who drifts through life and a man who shapes his destiny. Every choice, every movement, every investment becomes deliberate, every effort becomes a building block, and every obstacle becomes a calculated challenge. The man who acts strategically moves like a shadow through the chaos of the world, unnoticed yet unstoppable, collecting advantage, securing position, and accumulating wealth. While the impulsive and the emotional stumble blindly around him, one must choose purposeful discomfort today to avoid misery tomorrow. The masses are deceived by the allure of ease. They crave comfort, pleasure, and the immediate satisfaction of desire, yet they fail to see that these fleeting indulgences are the architects of long-term suffering. The rich man knows that true advantage is forged in hardship. Wealth is the reward of those who endure what others refuse, who accept the sting of sacrifice, and who embrace the trials that the unprepared avoid. Comfort is seductive, yet it is a slow poison to ambition. Those who surrender to it today bind themselves to poverty tomorrow. Consider the nature of desire. The human mind is inherently drawn to pleasure and repelled by pain. These instincts are ancient, rooted in survival, yet they are poorly suited to the accumulation of wealth in the modern world. The man who yields to every whim, who postpones work for rest, who exchanges effort for immediate gratification, builds a life of short-term delight and long-term hardship. Conversely, The man who accepts struggle, who works tirelessly while others lounge, who denies fleeting pleasures in pursuit of enduring gain, lays the foundation for prosperity. In every era, fortune rewards the one who masters his appetites, who understands that discomfort now is the seed of comfort later. Purposeful discomfort requires foresight and courage. It is not suffering for its own sake, nor is it blind endurance. It is the deliberate choice to confront difficulty today, knowing that this confrontation produces advantage tomorrow. This is the essence of strategy applied to life itself. The man who embraces challenge develops resilience, acquires knowledge through trial, and accumulates experiences that others avoid. In contrast, the man who shuns discomfort develops weakness, ignorance, and vulnerability, leaving him exposed to the whims of fortune and the cunning of those who act decisively. Wealth does not reward the idle, it does not grant favors to the complacent. The man who desires riches must be willing to labor where others rest, to persevere when others quit, to make choices that are difficult yet necessary: early rising, delayed gratification, meticulous planning, relentless study. These acts are often uncomfortable. They conflict with the pleasure-seeking instincts of the undisciplined. Yet these acts accumulate invisible power, compounding into wealth that is durable, resilient, and formidable. The man who seeks comfort above all sacrifices the very conditions necessary for prosperity. The pursuit of purposeful discomfort also requires confronting fear. Fear is a natural emotion, yet it is the enemy of progress. Most men flee discomfort not because it is unbearable, but because fear convinces them that effort is pointless, that risk is intolerable, that the unknown is too dangerous to face. The rich man does not deny fear. He acknowledges it, studies it, and proceeds despite it. He understands that calculated exposure to difficulty, even at the cost of temporary pain, produces mastery. Wealth and influence belong to those who can endure fear without succumbing to it, who can act decisively even when unease lingers. Consider the metaphor of the blacksmith. The smith places raw iron into the fire, enduring heat and labor, hammering it again and again until it becomes strong, unyielding steel. Comfort would soften the metal, laziness would leave it brittle. The blacksmith's reward is not in the absence of hardship, but in the strength produced by hardship. So it is with the pursuit of wealth. Every moment of struggle, every sacrifice, every decision to do what is difficult rather than easy tempers the character and prepares the man for opportunity. The man who avoids the forge remains weak, his ambitions fragile, his fortune illusory. Purposeful discomfort is also a weapon against complacency. A man who seeks only ease becomes predictable, weak, and unprepared. He reacts rather than initiates, drifts rather than navigates, and is vulnerable to the cunning of those who anticipate and endure challenges. Wealth favors the man who steps willingly into trial, who chooses the path of resistance, and who structures his life so that discomfort is not an interruption, but a tool. By embracing difficulty deliberately, he gains not only financial advantage, but also mental fortitude, strategic insight, and the confidence that emerges only from proven endurance. Furthermore, purposeful discomfort requires consistency. A single act of sacrifice achieves little. The man must endure over time. He must refuse the daily temptations of indulgence, the casual excuses, the seductive calls of ease. Every choice to labor when others rest, to save when others spend, to learn when others entertain themselves, reinforces the habits that compound into wealth. The discomfort of discipline becomes familiar, and what once seemed painful transforms into strength. The man who endures consistently grows not only rich, but invincible in character. Yet, purposeful discomfort is not solely about physical labor or financial prudence. It encompasses mental and emotional challenges as well. A man must confront his own doubts, control his impulses, resist envy, and master the subtle art of delayed gratification. He must endure the frustration of slow progress, the discomfort of delayed rewards, and the patience demanded by long-term plans. Each moment of mental resistance strengthens his capacity to act rationally, to seize opportunity, and to maintain composure in the face of adversity. Without this inner discipline, no external wealth can endure, for it is fragile when the mind itself is weak. To become rich, One must command oneself before commanding resources. Many men believe that money will grant them freedom, influence, and mastery over life. They see wealth as a prize to be acquired, yet they fail to recognize the prerequisite: mastery of self. Without control over one's desires, impulses, and habits, the most abundant fortune becomes a curse. The undisciplined man, even if he inherits a kingdom of gold, squanders it, mismanages it, and falls victim to his own weakness. True wealth begins not in the world outside, but in the world within. Before one can command men, markets, or machines, one must first command the unruly mind, the restless body, and the fleeting desires that lurk within. Observe the behavior of ordinary men. They chase wealth as if it were a fleeting shadow, yet they are blind to the chaos within themselves. One spends recklessly, another complains endlessly. A third abandons his plans at the first sign of discomfort. They are slaves to emotion, desire, and habit, believing themselves free because they walk under the sun and breathe the air. Freedom is not the absence of constraint, it is mastery over one's inner forces, and mastery over oneself is the foundation upon which all fortunes are built. The man who commands himself understands the value of structure and routine. He does not allow moods to dictate his actions, nor does he permit fleeting desires to override long-term plans. Each day is a battlefield, and the self is both the commander and the army. To rise early when others slumber, to act deliberately when others react impulsively, to persist when others surrender. These are the exercises through which inner authority is established. Only then can a man extend that authority outward, over his work, his ventures, and the resources he seeks to control. Self-command is also the mastery of desire. Men are driven by cravings, for pleasure, for comfort, for approval, for immediate reward. These cravings are relentless, cunning, and patient. They tempt the man to spend what he should save, to indulge when he should abstain, to act rashly when he should plan. Wealth cannot flourish where desire rules. The man who wishes to prosper must recognize each temptation as an adversary, each indulgence as a potential defeat, and each impulsive act as a step backward. By disciplining his cravings, he turns the chaotic forces of human nature into allies, harnessing them for the pursuit of enduring prosperity. Emotions, too, must be mastered. Fear, envy, pride, and anger are powerful motivators, yet if left unchecked, they are destroyers of fortune. A man ruled by fear avoids calculated risks. A man ruled by envy pursues worthless competition. A man ruled by pride misjudges opportunity, and a man ruled by anger acts destructively. The one who masters himself does not deny emotion, but he governs it. He observes it, understands it, and uses it as a tool rather than being enslaved by it. In doing so, he achieves clarity of action and decisiveness, qualities that attract both wealth and influence. Command of self extends to habits and discipline. Every small action, repeated consistently, compounds into either wealth or ruin. The man who leaves his finances to chance, who indulges in procrastination, who neglects his health or learning, slowly erodes his potential. The man who imposes structure, monitors his progress, and aligns daily behavior with long-term goals builds an invisible empire of competence and control. This invisible empire is the precursor to visible wealth. Without it, no fortune can endure, no success can last, and no empire can stand. A crucial aspect of self-command is the cultivation of patience. The undisciplined man demands immediate results, seeks instant gratification, and despairs when progress is slow. He interprets delay as failure and discomfort as injustice. The master of self, in contrast, recognizes that all great fortunes require time, effort, and persistence. He endures setbacks without surrender. He waits for opportunities without desperation, and he invests in the long game, rather than succumbing to the illusion of quick gains. Wealth is rarely the reward of speed, it is the reward of measured persistence. Self-command also includes the governance of thought. The mind must be trained to resist distraction, to evaluate information critically, and to make decisions based on principle rather than impulse. The man who allows random influences to dictate his judgment will find that every external resource, no matter how abundant, is wasted. Knowledge, attention, and discernment are weapons as potent as gold, for they allow the disciplined man to recognize opportunity where others see chaos, to act decisively where others hesitate, and to extract value where others lose it to folly. Finally, to command oneself is to establish sovereignty over one's own life. The man who cannot rule his own time, habits, and choices will be ruled by circumstance, by the whims of others, and by the chaos of his own impulses. He may acquire wealth, but he will never maintain it, for the seeds of disorder lie within the man who commands himself, transforms discipline into power, restraint into leverage, and clarity into influence. Only then can he extend that command to the resources, people, and enterprises necessary to build enduring wealth. Self-mastery is not merely preparation for wealth, it is the true foundation of it. And now, let us bring the lessons together. Wealth does not come to those who wait for luck, who surrender to emotion, who act without strategy, who flee discomfort, or who fail to command themselves. It belongs to those who understand the nature of power, who study the mind as carefully as the marketplace, who endure hardship willingly, and who rule their own desires before seeking to rule the world. Each keynote we have explored is a pillar: discipline, clarity, strategy, deliberate hardship, and self-mastery. Alone, each is powerful. Together, they form an unbreakable framework for prosperity. The man who masters these principles stands apart from the masses. He is not swayed by fleeting impulses, not seduced by comfort, not deceived by appearances of fortune. He sees opportunity where others see risk, acts decisively where others hesitate, and builds steadily while others drift. Wealth, then, is not a gift. It is an achievement. It is the natural consequence of deliberate thought, unyielding discipline, and strategic action. Remember this: the world owes you nothing. Fortune favors the prepared, the self-controlled, the strategic, and the resilient. To desire riches is not enough. To act impulsively is folly. To endure discomfort without purpose is wasted suffering. To command others without commanding oneself is hubris. True prosperity is earned by those who master these truths and live them daily. Now, the choice is yours. Will you remain like the countless men who drift aimlessly, forever hoping for fortune to smile? Or will you take command of yourself, embrace discipline, confront discomfort, act strategically, and seize the wealth that is rightly the reward of the deliberate and the wise? The path is neither easy nor comfortable, but for those who walk it, riches await as the inevitable reward of mastery.